that I went to Sturgis, we went to this back area at Mount Rushmore, and there's like built-in seating, and it was dark when we first arrived, so we shot, unloaded the motorcycles. We went right over there. We went all the way to the back, and then they start this movie, and you watch this movie about how they did Mount Rushmore, like them doing the explosions and making the faces and everything, and then they start playing. I don't know if it's like Land of the Beautiful or like something like that. And then all of a sudden they light this thing up and it's pitch black. You can't see anything at all. It's not like this is mountain area. You don't have no lights everywhere. So when they light this up, it was like in grand fashion. So I'll never forget that. And then we went to Crazy Horse. You pay like $7 per person to get in there. And then you can't even get that close. I'm like, well, I see that from here, but I think it helps like fund them finishing it. And so the one year I went, there was only so much done. Went a couple years later and there's a bunch more done. It's kind of cool. A lot of the restaurants down there, they have like old photos of like the people hanging off the side of the mountains doing Mount Rushmore with little stories everywhere. But I feel like if that's not for you and you want to go down there and you want to kick it and that's all you want to do, you got to go to Deadwood. You just go on down to Deadwood where they took all the brothels and everything else, left them alone, and now it's a restaurant. You eat there now. I got in trouble for going out onto one of the balconies because it's freaking old. Everywhere down there also is a casino. I got ID'd so many times. My friends kept laughing at me because I didn't take a couple steps before we were walking in the next place, and every single place. I mean, they're on their shit. They ain't, out here trying to serve no minors. I know, because I kept getting laughed at. I'm like, is there something I can put on that just says like, hey, I know I don't look it, but I am in fact 21. I went to Buffalo Chip. The first year we didn't go, it was COVID. I went 2020 when COVID was going on, which wasn't the best year for concerts or anything like that, but it was the best year for riding because there wasn't hardly anybody there. To where, 2 years later I go, it's real congested, a lot of newer riders that probably had no business riding like this. Really, you would get clustered up and stuff. I seen a lady drop her motorcycle coming down the mountain, which is just scary. And then we went to the Buffalo Chip the second time. Travis Tritt was there. Again, one of the most amazing places I've ever, probably my favorite place. I do love the full throttle is absolutely amazing, but the Buffalo Chip, they ride their motorcycles right up to the stage. Everybody's just lined up out there. They got golf carts sitting out there. I mean, they're standing on their motorcycles holding American flags, and every time a song completes or they're going into the next one, everybody's revving up their motorcycles. That's all you can hear through this whole place. And I don't know. I like being part of that. This is for me. That's what I was thinking. At the Full Throttle Saloon, they had these two girls, and they rode this motorcycle on like a tightrope. And the one rode it, the other one was hanging underneath. So it's just like a monkey bar kind of situation. And she's like flipping and turning. And I thought that they was the most badass ladies I had ever seen, and they're way up, and there's just this huge mountain in the background. Like around Full Throttle is like nothing. It's just desert and mountains, and then you got these ladies up here just going back and forth. I made sure I stopped and got a picture with them. I was like, you guys are my favorite. There's a lot of ladies that dress up in suggestive clothing, and they go around and people pay them to take pictures with them. And I thought, that's really cool. Like, wow, you're quite the entrepreneur out here. They dress, actually, there was one guy, I think he was dressed up like a barrel or something. He too was walking around, and people would pay him to take pictures with them. But probably some of the hardest working bartenders I've ever seen with my own eyes. There's so many of them, and it's so busy that, I mean, they got to be on it, and they really do take good care of you. I don't ever remember thinking at the bar or whatever that it was taking too long or anything. And I mean, this place is packed. So they do a really good job. it's this like same as like sports teams. You know, you like the Browns, I like the Browns. We're friends. So you ride a motorcycle, I ride a motorcycle. You're a girl, I'm a girl. We're friends. You know, that's just. I don't think I've ever met a woman rider that's ever been mean to me or like hate on me or anything. I feel like in general they're not haters at all. They're doing their thing. You're free to do your thing, and if you're doing the same thing as them, well, hell yeah, it's nice. Um, Actually, I think more people worry about what my motorcycle's doing than me. They're, where's Pete? When we're gonna see Pete? My mom rode it over to the restaurant one day, and they're like, "Oh my God, I seen Pete." I'm like, "You guys are crazy as I am. I love it." But he just got lowered, which is nice. I was on my tiptoes. Sometimes was picking which foot I was gonna stop with, so that's nice to be able to have my feet solid on the ground. I got new pegs, which I really, really like. My handlebars were a little bit crooked. I got them adjusted. I got all my controls adjusted so they fit my hands better. It's not less rubbing on the side. I also got a very bedazzled license plate cover. I know everybody's real interested in that. It's perfect. Um,
Talk
I
about
know
it.
he looks really good in the garage with my mom and Joe's motorcycle. I'll tell you that. There's like a gray, a red, and an orange in there. But I mean, once you see, even Joe, he stands there and he was just admiring it and admiring it. And he's like, this thing is really nice. Like, this looks really good, especially since I got the new seat on there because the other seat is awful. I don't even know what else to say about that. It was awful. And this one is perfect. I picked out every single bit like a test. They gave me this piece of paper, and from top to bottom, every single stitch, every part of it, I chose, I made. And then it was expensive, and I didn't want to go buy cheaper seats, so I had a bake sale. I went in the kitchen, got a bunch of stuff, and took it down to these bars when they were having like their Queen of Hearts and stuff like that, when I knew a lot of people would be down there. Got permission from the owners and sat there and sold cheesecakes and strudel. And I think I spent like $140 on all the ingredients. I ended up leaving with $490. So not only the seat was only like 340 or something, 360 maybe. And I left with 490. And I think some people they kind of donated. So it was like, oh, you know, cheesecake 7, here's 10, or here's a 20, or like they just believed in me. So waiting, it took a long time for the seat to come, and the whole neighborhood was impatient. Like they wanted to see this seat. They wanted to see what I had going on. I really made it like it was like an event. It was called Sweet Treats for a New Seat for Pete. It was a lot, but it was a success. And I really appreciate that. I appreciate all the people around me, how supportive they've been of me since I wanted to ride the motorcycle, how, you know, eager they are to help me as soon as I say I want something or need something, or that, you know, they're giving me pegs and stuff for my motorcycle because I said I wanted new ones, and they want to be a part of it. And I love that. People who they'll be in a pack of motorcycles and they'll just decide to be up front and like do a burnout or something, fling rocks all over people's motorcycles. I've seen a lot of that. So I guess if you're like an unnecessary show off, like I think this shit's cool. Of course, you know, do a burnout. Please don't do a burnout on your friends. Like they don't need that. Well, that's like I said too. Some people that's why they're doing it. It's not a love. It's not a passion. It's not something that's deep rooted in their soul. Like I feel mine is like it was inevitable one way or another, even the life path that I was on. And when I had kids early and just not wanting to do certain things because of them or not being able to afford certain things, you get a Harley, you better just be ready, man, because it's expensive. It just is. The simplest things are going to be expensive. And once you get it, you're going to want to do more. You're going to want to make it your own. That's like the joy of it, I think, is that it's so individualized. to everyone else. And so I don't really like people that do shit that's for show that they just don't care about. If you like that big front wheel and everything else, have at it. But if you're just doing it because you think everybody's going to think it's cool and stuff, and you can just tell in some people that they just don't really love it. I've been to some motorcycle audio competitions before. I'm going to talk about people who really love their motorcycle, plan on spending a lot of time on it. I think it's these audio people. They do these massive stereo systems and stuff. And you can just tell that doing the music like that and having those speakers like that mixed with this is just like their happy place. That they just absolutely love it. Probably get away from everything in the world. Just having, their loud music and their fancy motorcycle that they love. Internet's gotten way out of control. This is what would be like, because you're ridiculous and you make no sense. And it's like, now it's like this big joke around town. I'm like, I'm going to have to get a hoodie made or something like that because they want them. They love it. I'm telling you, like, people are getting together. I'll tell them, like, when the new podcast comes out, or I'll send it to them, and they wait to get together to all watch it at the same time, like Jeopardy. And I'm like, okay. Then it makes me kind of nervous, but I guess now that I'm already out there, I guess it just doesn't matter.